those of you that have already joined us, I can't see you, so I'm not sure who's all there or how many. But we will be recording this as well, so hopefully you can stick around to the end. If not, we will be sending out a recording of this tomorrow. All right, well, that said, I mean, I think we can jump into it, Riz, because we're going to send out a recording. So if anyone joins in a little bit later. First of all, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you, Riz, for joining as well. A little bit about me and Investors Playbook. I'm Ryan Coyle. I'm the host tonight. I am one of the partners in Investor Playbook. What Investors Playbook really is, it's about a community. So I say I'm a partner, but there's literally hundreds of partners. And what we've done is we've created this community of seasoned real estate investors and real estate professionals. And it's allowed us to be able to, share ideas, share success, bring on incredible guests like Riz, and put together incredible opportunities like this, which is exclusive to our community. So this is really about, me as a successful investor, sharing a lot of my success and the principles that I've applied to my success, and then bringing Riz in, who I'm very excited to have here. Riz has been in the business a lot longer than me, and I think I met you probably 20 years ago when I was trying to get access to one of the hottest projects in the city, but I was just a nobody realtor and I couldn't get access.
I apologize if I did.
You know what? No, but that's just the business. It's about, having the connections, the relationships, and, I obviously have that relationship with you now, which I'm really excited about. So I appreciate you taking time out of your evening, and I know you guys are busy. So, just quickly again, Riz Danji's been in the business for, how many years have you been in the business?
27 years now.
Yeah, awesome. So we're going to learn a lot. I'm going to go through the principles I've used to invest in real estate. Hopefully you're going to learn a bit about that. It's literally the principles I've used to build a portfolio. I took one property that my mom had bought me and my sister when I was 20 years old. I then bought a second property, and then a third, a fourth, and now I have over 40 properties. So we're going to walk you through how I got there. And then Riz is really going to walk us through a very exciting opportunity that Calgary is one of the hottest market in Canadian real estate. So we're going to hear about Calgary. We're going to hear about a great opportunity. So before I start these presentations, I always like to share quotes, and this one is from Andrew Carnegie, who was a billionaire industrialist, and today's money, he probably would have been the wealthiest person alive if he were alive today. And he said 90% of millionaires become so through owning real estate. More money has been made in real estate than in all industrial investments combined. The wise young man or wage earner of today invests his money in real estate. Now, again, Andrew Carnegie was an industrialist, and he made billions of dollars. And he is stated that real estate is the tool that the mass should use to be able to accumulate and achieve wealth. So the agenda for today, I've already talked a bit about it. We're going to go through the iOS. This is the investor operating system. It's really based on 4 key pillars: the power of leverage, compound interest, passive income, because you cannot build and scale a portfolio if it isn't passive. Some people want to use real estate as a way for freedom, but then they just want to go manage their real estate, and that's a job. So this is all about scaling a portfolio and doing it so it's passive, so you can earn money while you sleep. And then we're going to talk about the time value of money. I'm just going to adjust my camera here. And then we'll walk through the multiplier effect, refi, rent, buy, and repeat. And then we're going to take a look at my portfolio. We're a community here, and we share a lot of our success and our ideas. So I'm an open book. I'm going to share with you exactly what I have in my portfolio and how I got there. And then really excited again to have Riz. So I'm going to try to get through my part in 10 minutes. I apologize if it's quick. But Riz has a great presentation, and I know a lot of you are very excited to learn about Calgary, and it's the hottest market. This opportunity is cash flow positive from day one, has equity into it from day one, which is very rare, I think, in most of my career. And then we're going to talk about how you can invest if you're interested, and then a Q&A. So the investor operating system, I talked about the 4 pillars. And it's an easy, really, this is just to simplify real estate, because real estate doesn't need to be complicated. And when you simplify it, it helps you understand it better. So this is what I'm trying to do here. And these are the pillars, the foundation of a successful real estate portfolio. And it's really leverage, the power of leverage. Another quote, the leverage is the reason some people become rich and others do not become rich. That's Robert Kiyosaki. He was the author and founder of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a very successful investor and a real estate investor. So what is leverage? It's referred to often as OPM, other people's money. And what that is, it's when you're buying an asset and you're taking money from the bank to go pay for that asset, and then you're going to have a third party tenant go pay that asset off. And the nice thing about leverage in real estate is that banks are very comfortable lending you money when it's on a real estate asset. And that's a good sign, obviously, because you're not going to get that type of leverage on other assets. So real estate has performed incredibly well in most markets over a long period of time. So banks are very comfortable, and that allows you to get the most amount of leverage, up to 80% with investing, and the cheapest leverage. Just to finish that off, if you're investing in stocks or other money market funds, it is very difficult to get leverage. You do that through margin. And when you get leverage through margin, it's very expensive. It's not linked to a 30-year amortization or a 5-year term. So it's very risky. Your margin call could be at any time, and then you're left in a position. Real estate gives you security, and this is why it has been tried, tested, and true over time. The miracle of compound interest. Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Albert Einstein, not sure if he was a real estate investor, but he knew a thing about a few things. The snowball effect. So I call this the multiplier effect. Some investors call it the snowball effect. And it's really earning interest on your initial investment and then interest on interest. So if you got $200,000 investment that went up 10%, it's now worth $220,000. The next year, if it goes up 10%, it's worth $222,000, so on and so forth. So when you start putting these things together, these pillars, and you start using them over a long period of time, this is how you achieve a lot of wealth with very minimal risk. And to give you another real example, $100,000 investment made into TSX in 2023, roughly 20 years ago, would be worth $275,000 today. It's 176% return on investment. So that's compounded growth. Not bad, right? But let's look at an investment in real estate over the same period of time. And if you're to put down 20%, which is $100,000, so $100,000 is a 20% deposit on a piece of real estate 20 years ago, it would be worth $2.163 million today, or 2,000% return on investment. And that is the power of leverage, and that is the miracle of compound interest, and that is a real example. Now, if you can't make it passive and you want to build a portfolio, you want to create financial freedom and pass on generational wealth, it's got to be passive. You do not want to leave a job to go make real estate a new job. So how do you do this in a way that you can generate it as passive income and essentially earn money while you sleep? Well, tenants typically pay you rent while you're sleeping. You don't have to do a lot of work if you have a good property. But the key thing is you need to have a good property. When I started early investing, I started buying multi-res, and I realized that they started taking energy and time and money from me. And I had to keep investing this energy into my multi-residential properties. And I had a condo, my first condo investment condo at Bay and Dundas. And I had a dentistry student in it, and I didn't hear from them for 5 years. And it was just a very easy way to scale. And I'm like, look, if I want to have 50 properties one day, I'm going to have to do it through condos or certain types of real estate assets that don't take my time, energy, and money. And then you create multiple streams of passive income. So, if you have one stream of income and it's earning you $50,000 a year, that's roughly the average salary in Canada. If you have 10 properties doing the same amount of work for you, you now are earning 10 different incomes. And then the time value of money is really the important piece, because you're just speculating or taking on stupid risk if you're just doing this to try to make money overnight. Now, many people have made money overnight with crypto. Many people have lost money overnight. It's very difficult to time the market on anything. And when you start factoring in leverage, so cheap leverage, guaranteed leverage over a period of time, a term, compounding interest and the passiveness of it, and then you put time value into money, you see that real estate is just an incredible asset return, time over time. This time value of money chart here is just highlighting the GTA market because there's 50 years of data. I couldn't find that for Calgary or Canada, but look, it's the same story in any major city. We all know someone or someone's grandparents or parents who tell the same story about how their house they bought 20 years ago, 40, 50 years ago is, they bought it for $1. It's worth $1 million today. So this is just a real chart I wanted to share. And, for example, 50 years ago, if you bought a home in Toronto, it was $64,000. And that same property, the average price for a property today is 1.19. Sorry, not today. This is an older chart, 2 years ago. But this highlights that you have roughly a 7% compounded annual growth rate. Now, the important thing is when you factor in the leverage, you've got a 9,000% return. So it's pretty incredible. Another thing here is you've got 10-year blocks of time. The real estate market has historically gone up over long periods of time of 10 years or longer. So how to turn one property into 40 with the multiplier. So I just showed you the pillars, the principles of what make a portfolio successful. And now the multiplier is essentially using that and putting that in action. So it's buy, rent, refi, repeat. You see the iOS in action and build serious wealth. So the first thing is equity in your property isn't working for you if it's just sitting there. You need to start making it work for you. And most Canadians are sitting on a mountain of cash in their primary homes, which can be used to build wealth. In fact, Canada is one of the countries that has the most amount of home ownership. And, I'll talk about it a bit later, but we're hearing it all over news. But generations, parents are now passing on that wealth through their home to their children, to their grandchildren, and they're able to use that so they can get into the market. So if you got cash in your home, it's an easy way to use it to pull out and get leverage and start building more wealth. Now, the thing that gets me most excited about real estate and refinancing is that it's the best tax avoidance strategy to ever exist. And I don't know anything else like this. So I'll give you an example, real example shortly. But if you were to sell your property and pay a $500,000 capital gain, I don't even know what it is now, 66%, whatever, over 250,000. That's a lot of money you're giving to the government. Typically, over a long period of time, if you go and refinance that same property, you can pull out the same amount of money after tax, put it in your pocket to go reinvest because you're not actually taxed on it until you sell the property. So you're avoiding, not evading. It's legal in Canada to avoid. It's a tax strategy to avoid paying tax. And then the kicker is actually tax deductible. So not only have you extracted this capital from your property instead of selling it and paying tax, you're now going to write off the interest because you've just used it to go buy more real estate. And when you start applying that on multiple properties over a long period of time, it's just a snowball effect of appreciation. So, and that's really what I've used to turn one property into 40 over 20 years. Here's one example of buy, rent, refi, repeat. This is a property I bought in Toronto in 2017. I bought it for $602,000. The appraised value early last year when I did this was 1.175. The rent at that time was $3,900 and the mortgage was $482,000. So I went and I got 80% loan to value, which was $940,000. Then I had to go pay off the current mortgage, which left me with $457,000. I did not pay any tax on that. So what I did with that was I kept $100,000 in that account with that property so that I had a shortfall. I was cash flow negative because I extracted enough capital to go use it and redeploy, but I have $100,000 to cover that shortfall for 10, 15 years. And I've now had $350,000 that I went and bought more property. This is just a quick example of kind of tying this all together. This is a chart I put together. So, buying property one today, for example, $710,000 would be a $140,000 deposit. In 6 years, assuming a 7% annual appreciation, next time I'll do a more conservative number. The numbers aren't that far off in year 6. That would give you enough equity to go buy property 2 without putting any more money down. If you're to buy property 3, you would have to put in an extra $169,000. So at that point, you have $300,000 in after 6 years. But what happens in year 12, when you see all of the IOS in action, is you don't actually have to put in any more cash. So you're refinancing property 1, 2, 3. You're buying properties 4, 5, and 6. And this is where it really, is seen in action. It's in year 12. Your portfolio is now worth 8.3. You've got 1.6 in equity. Pretty good, not bad for a $300,000 investment in 12 years. But in year 25, in this example, you've got a $20 million portfolio. You still have leverage. You still have some debt. So you've got a $15 million in equity. Not bad, Arris?
This is unbelievable, by the way. So I've never seen you present like this, so I'm engaged.
Cool, thanks. All right, so this is my portfolio. To be honest, with this new software, I'm like squinting. I'm having a hard time reading this. Can you see this clearly, Riz?
No, I think I'm going to go on full mode, and then I can see everything, and then.
Well, I really hope the audience can see it. I'll squint. I'll even put on my glasses and age myself. All right, so anyway, I know my portfolio quite well. So it's roughly $36 million today. And like, I literally took the first property my mom bought me and my sister, not really knowing what I was doing, went and bought another property. And I'm like, okay, I've got all this equity. Went and bought my first investment property, found out what refinancing was, refinanced my property 16 years ago, bought an Audi A5. I was like, this is amazing. I don't have to pay any taxes. Just bought myself a nice car, went and bought 2 more condos. And I've just refied and repeated. Now I've had a very good run. The Toronto real estate market and the markets I've been investing, I've had a very good run. But the main thing, reason for that success has really been the amount of time I've invested for. I didn't start cashing in until probably year 12, year 13. And, this is here in my portfolio. So let me show you this. So today, the value is roughly $36 million. There's a tremendous amount of debt on that. At 4% compounded growth, if I did nothing today, the portfolio would be worth $79 million. So these are big numbers. Like, I'm just saying, I've done my 20 years of grinding. I'm going to take it easy, pass it on to my kids. If I did nothing, 4% compounded growth, very, very conservative. I'm almost, more than doubling in 20 years. Now, I'll just go through this quickly. 30 years, 117 million. The numbers kind of get a little obnoxious. The reason why I did 120 years here is because I am not going to sell this. This portfolio is going to generate wealth for me and my family for many, many, many years, long after I am gone. It's going to generate cash flow, and it's going to be able to pay out through a trust in a way that doesn't allow my kids to, blow the money. So that's why I get excited. That's why I share 120 years, because these are real numbers. Now, if you take 6.7%, which is the actual historical 50-year average, in 20 years, just 20 years doing nothing, I'm talking about $133 million. I won't even say that number because it just seems too hard to believe. But that's the numbers. That is the power of what we're talking about here and what real estate can really do. And you don't have to do it on the level that I did it. You can do it on a much smaller level, and it'll still change your life. Very quickly, my last part. So, my clients used to be burnt out multi-residential investors who are like, there's an easier way. Let's invest in condos. Now it's mom and pop investors. They're realizing that their children may be priced out of the market, or they have equity, and equity is able to get them their place in the market. So our clients mainly are mom and pop investors now. And let me just give you an example why this is so important for the mom and pop investor to consider investing for their children's future. So rent versus buy today, deciding between renting a condo for $2,200 today with a 4% annual increase, or purchasing a $500,000 condo. The choice impacts more than life. It's foundational to building wealth. So the breakdown over 10 years. That rent scenario would cost $316,000 with no equity gain, nothing. The ownership cost would cost $2,500 a month, so a little bit more than renting. That'd be your mortgage and fees. When you factor in a 6% annualized appreciation, the condo's value could rise to approximately $900,000. Your mortgage paydown contributes to roughly $85,000. So the difference between renting and owning over just 10 years is life-altering, absolutely life-altering. So building equity, ownership could generate approximately $500,000, in equity through appreciation and debt reduction, setting a strong foundation for future investments, future opportunities, equity position your child to upgrade to a $2.5 million home. So, I was able to take that first property that I bought, or my mom got for me, and I was able to turn that into the home I live in today, which, over a long period of time has allowed me to buy a nice home, and I'm very fortunate for that. So, I just want to use that to use an example of why this is so important for everyone listening to invest in not only their future but their children's future. RBC's been talking about it. CIBC's been talking about it. It's no secret that homes are generating the most amount of wealth for Canadians. So Canadians are wealthy generally through the equity in their homes, and a lot of people are using that to pass on to their children so they can become homeowners. And that's really it. Riz, I went a little longer than I expected. Please do your thing. If you want to introduce yourself, I'm really excited about this opportunity. We've had a few clients already invest in it, so we're excited to hear more.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, Ryan, that was an incredible, powerful presentation.
Thank you.
I'm a firm believer in this. Obviously, I've been in this business for 27 years. My background is I used to work for developers doing sales and marketing for projects across mostly the Toronto area. Aura, Canada's tallest condo at Yonge and Gerrard. That was a project I did at 80 stories. I did the whole College Park neighborhood. So Bay and Gerrard, the two towers that are there, and then obviously Aura. Those are the projects and YC condos out in 2017 as well. So I parlayed that into starting my own firm back 5 years ago called Rad Marketing. And what we wanted to do was elevate projects in the GTA and do some really cool projects around Toronto. And one of them that you probably heard of is King Toronto, which is the Starchitect Bjarke Engels, West Bank Corporation, and Allied, 4 mountaintops coming out of King in Spadina. One of the most iconic buildings that will be built in Toronto's history.
It's incredible building. It's incredible to watch it get built. My office is right across the road. It's exciting to watch.
It's amazing. And then we did the One Delisle project with Jeannie Gang with Slate Asset Management at Yonge and St. Clair, and then we've done thousands of condos along that route. So, before I talk about this opportunity, I think one of the things that you brought home is that a lot of real estate agents or investors in general shy away from real estate because they believe that it's not going to generate the kind of returns that you're looking at. It's not an asset that they want to think about. And, each year that passes, they're not really interested in doing that. And I believe that it's a serious mistake not to invest in real estate just for what you talked about, which is the power of compounding. Myself, I actually invest in a lot of the projects that our clients do, but I have between 6 to 8 condos myself and probably another 5 or 6 in the pre-construction phase. And I can't tell you how important that is that you say that, because these condos are going to go down to my daughter and she's going to pass that along. Most of them are now almost free and clear. I've refinanced most of the projects. I've refinanced, bought more units as well. And I'm never going to sell these units in my life. So I think that is such an important part that we need to think about for our future generation, as well as building wealth, because as you said, the tax implications in Canada are some of the strictest I've seen around the world. And so there really isn't a better opportunity. If you invest in a GIC, it doesn't make a difference. 50% of that is taxed. Any interest that you earn, you get taxed on that. If you invest in stocks, you're going to have a big capital gains, exposure to that. But by refinancing, like you said, Brian, you take out your equity tax-free, you reinvest it, you're punting the tax gain down the line and becoming more tax efficient. And people really don't understand that. That is the power of real estate, and it's the only tool where you can use leverage and use that at the same time. So to me, this is something that everyone has to do in order to build wealth in Canada, or you are going to be taxed to the hilt and not have the wealth for the future, for your retirement, or for your kids. So on that note, I'm just going to go to full screen, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about the opportunity we talked about.
Great.
So Arris Residences is a project that's in downtown Calgary on the east side. It's built by one of the largest developers in Canada, BOSA Developments. So BOSA, I know them very well because I'm originally from Vancouver. I know how much they've done in Vancouver. They built thousands and thousands of condos, mixed-use communities in the Vancouver area. They are also, I know them really well because they're the largest developer in San Diego. They started building in San Diego in the 1980s. And if you go to San Diego, anywhere around, you will see a BOSA building because they're branded all the way across. And they are literally the largest developer in San Diego as well. Seattle, they're building a ton of projects as well. And not to mention the projects that we're going to mention in Calgary. So you're buying from a reputable developer. I know a lot of people are hearing about Calgary and units going for really cheap prices and so on and so forth. I highly recommend you work with only the biggest developers when you're buying in real estate. And that's just something to do with whether you're buying in Toronto or anywhere else. You know that the product is going to be delivered. You know that the quality is going to be there. And, someone like BOSA, you know that you're always going to be taken care of down the line and you're not going to have any surprises in the end. The location is on the east side, on the east side of Toronto, of Calgary, but it's literally 2 blocks from the downtown main core. And the east side of Calgary is getting a major lift, similar to what you see on the east side of Toronto. The new stadium for the Calgary Flames is going to be built there. There's a new convention center that just got built. There is a new library that just got built, and they're pouring billions and billions of dollars into it. So one of the things that's important about real estate is you want to buy in locations. I always believe that you have to buy in urban locations. I don't believe in buying in very far away areas, suburban locations that you don't know where the rental values are going to maintain themselves. Buying in a main location like downtown Calgary, you know that most of the offices are there. You know that the people are going to be living there, or the renters are going to be coming. They're higher quality renters, and you can rent it out quite quickly, given that the rental rates are very low in Calgary at this time. So this is the transformation that's happening in the East Village. About $1 billion of approved redevelopment that's happening, and we can go into a little bit of that. So you'll see that BMO Center just got completed. That's a new convention center that's literally across the street from Arris. The new Calgary Flames Stadium, you can see the parking lot that's there. That's just been approved, and that's going to be under construction shortly. The Arts Common area, the new Central Libraries across from Arris, the new Music Centers across from Arris. So a lot of new residential that's coming up, a lot of new office, a lot of new main locations that are going to make this the center of Calgary when all of it is completed. These are some of the pictures of some of the stuff that's happening in the East Village. The Calgary BMO Center is already completed, so that's up and running. Same as the Music Center. The new LRT extension is coming literally a block away from Arris, and the rest, the Calgary Flames Stadium has been planned and going to be starting construction very shortly. And the Calgary Central Library is literally outside your window from Arris Residences. The great thing about Arris is it's also got the LRT right outside your door, and in the downtown core around Arris, you can actually travel the LRT for free in the downtown core. So you don't even have to pay $1 like we have to do in the TTC here in Toronto. So you can get anywhere that you want to through the LRT, a block away from your front door at Arris, which is huge. Transit is a major component of buying real estate. The other thing that I love is that Calgary has an elevated path network, similar to what we have in Toronto, although it's above grade. And literally across the street is where you can connect to the elevated path network and travel the entire downtown core, almost 16 kilometers in length, and never have to go outside. So in the wintertime, you're literally walking right through this elevated network and never have to go outside if you need to go to work. So that's a huge plus for a lot of renters that are looking at renting in Arris. The project is the tallest building in Calgary's East Village. Total of 337 units, 41 stories, 170,000 square feet of retail at the base of the building, which I'll go into a little bit further, and occupancy is granted. So we have 30 to 60 to 90-day closings on this project. The great thing is we've all heard of RioCan, and BOSA partnered on the land with RioCan and built the retail for them at the base of the building. And it's got amazing tenants in there. So you've got the superstore, massive superstore that's in there. You've got Winners, you've got banks, you've got the liquor store, you've got restaurants, you've got everything that you need right at your fingertips as you come down the elevator from Arris. So you don't even have to go outside. You just literally take the elevator down to the second floor. You come outside and you've got all your facilities and the retail at your front door. So you can be in your shorts in the middle of wintertime and go right into the superstore, grab your stuff, and come upstairs and never have to go outside in -50. So that's a really great part of Arris, as well as RioCan owning all the retail means it's going to maintain its value as the years go along. So these are just some other visuals of the retail at Arris. Arris also has 25,000 square feet of amenity space, from outdoor lounge areas. It's also got one of the first and only indoor pools. There's not many indoor pools in Calgary, so they've got an indoor pool. They've got a whirlpool as well as sauna and steam for the guests. So that's amazing as well. Party rooms that go out onto a large deck area for outdoor entertaining, barbecue area, dog area. So everything that you can imagine is here at Arris, and it's great because the property is so large. It's one of the few projects that has this many amount of amenities, and renters are drawn here because they haven't seen these types of amenities in Calgary. One of the great things about Arris as well is they've got almost 3,000 to 4,000 square feet of fitness facility, the state-of-the-art equipment that BOSA has spent a lot of money on to make sure that it's top of the line. So this is the equipment in the fitness facility. And then you turn the corner and it's literally got every single weight training machine that you can imagine in here. This is better than most gyms in the city. So that's part of your amenity at Arris. The one thing I love about Arris, and I've seen a lot of real estate in my career, nothing really excites me on projects anymore. But when I went down and I got to take a look at the project, I literally could not believe the level of quality that you will see in these units. So first of all, 2 bedrooms start at over 1,000 square feet. I don't think I've designed a 2-bedroom for a typical project over 1,000 square feet in years, or it's like, 1% of your project. This is standard for almost every single 2-bedroom in Arris. The layouts are fantastic. The kitchens are Italian kitchens, so literally from Italy, that are put in here, not the typical kitchen we see in Toronto that's built in Woodbridge and shipped over to the site. These are actual Italian kitchens. 30-inch appliances are standard. Gas is standard in these units. You've got custom window coverings on all the windows. You've got blackout blinds in the bedrooms. You've got heated floors in the ensuite. I mean, heated floors are not done anywhere unless you're buying a super exclusive penthouse in Toronto. And you have large format porcelain tiles in the shower. So the level of quality would be like a luxury building that you would see here in Toronto.
I think a good comparison for anyone who doesn't know BOSA from out west would be Tridel here in the GTA. Tridel, you know what you're getting. You're getting quality common areas, quality amenities, quality finishes. You don't get heated floors. You don't get built-in custom woodwork the way you do here, because my team, we've come out and seen this, and it's nicer than anything I've seen in Toronto.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is just one of the many layouts that we'll show you on Saturday. But just to give you an example, you look at this. This is approximately 1,000 square feet, split bedroom layout. The ensuite has a double sink. That also has the heated flooring there. An actual room for dining area. I don't even see that in Toronto anymore. For 6 people, you have a separated living area. The master bedroom fits a king size bed. I don't think I've seen a master bedroom in a condo that we're doing right now that has an actual king size bed with 2 side tables. Large kitchen with an island that's there. Washer dryer full size. So really great layouts for the project, and this is the kind of quality that you can see inside the unit, and the views are outstanding depending on which unit you're looking for. I'm not going to go too much into these units, but we can show you more on Saturday. But you can see like the kitchen, full size, refrigerator, gas cooktop, 30-inch appliances, Italian kitchens that are there. This is really on a new level, and really wide balconies. We're typically now in balconies. We don't either see them in Toronto anymore, or they're not 5 to 6 feet that you see here. So you can actually furnish it and have beautiful views overlooking the city.
Well, you also have views of the mountains as well, which I think is important to mention. All units have incredible views.
Yeah, so this is another one that's 1,100 square feet. Look, you can see the living area and the dining area. Look at the views, expansive windows all the way across. That's the library that's right across the street from you. So there's just a very high level of quality in these units. So why are the reasons to invest in Calgary? And so, I've obviously spent most of my career selling in Toronto and the GTA and different areas, but having researched Calgary a lot now, been there, one of the greatest challenges that we have in Ontario, and a recent report came out, that 50% of Ontarians want to leave Ontario because of the cost of living. And the number one driver for them to wanting to leave is housing costs. And so because of that, they're looking at Alberta as their number one choice to move to. So you're seeing a huge amount of net immigration that's coming from around the world into Calgary. But at the same time, you're seeing immigration that's coming in from other provinces, BC, BC, Ontario, as well as Quebec. And they're moving to Alberta because of the cost of housing, which is significantly less. So on an affordability price, and I'll show you some of the numbers, it's absolutely incredible. Your closing costs are next to nothing here. You don't have the high taxes that we have on the cost of housing that we see in condominiums in here, and I'll go into that a little bit further. Immigration I talked about. There's just a huge amount of immigration that's coming there. The living standards, some of the highest incomes in Canada with a low cost of living. It's ranked the 3rd highest livable city in Canada. And the investment that I'm going to show you today is actually positive cash flow, which we can't say for any other project in Ontario today. So that's why we're really excited about it. It's a little bit more about Calgary. The corporate tax rate is much lower, ranked top 10, 3rd most diversity, and 2nd lowest income cost of living among Canadian cities. So this is probably the most important slide if I were to show you any slide about why you need to invest in Arris. So we looked at a typical condo in downtown Toronto under pre-construction, 1,000 square feet. So let's look at something, 1.3 million. It actually doesn't exist because you can't buy 1,000 square feet for $1.3 million. But let's say you could in pre-construction today in downtown Toronto. That same unit at Arris would cost you $600,000 for 1,000 square feet. So you're paying $600 a foot versus, you know, $1,300 a foot, if not more, in Toronto for the same type of location as in Calgary. Your development charges in downtown Toronto for that $1.3 million unit would be $18,000. In Calgary, you have zero development charges, so you pay zero. Your Section 37 would be $8,000. In downtown Calgary, you're paying zero because there's no Section 37. Your meter hookup will be $2,500, and in Calgary, it's zero. Your carry-on charges are $1,250. It's zero, and that's included in the cost of your home, your warranty already. Your admin discharges are $500. It's zero in Calgary. The big kicker is that your land transfer tax, when you go to close, is almost $45,000 for that $1.3 million unit. You pay zero land transfer tax in Calgary, which is incredible. Your closing costs in total are $800 at Arris. So their total cost to buy that 1,000 square foot unit in downtown Toronto is $1,375,000 when you add in all the taxes, and that same unit in Calgary at Arris is $600,800. So you're saving $775,000 for the same type of product that you're buying in Toronto versus buying in Calgary. This, to me, is the most significant and important investment opportunity I have seen in literally 20 years of doing this. Not since you could buy in Toronto downtown at $500 a foot, which is going back 15 to 20 years ago, have I seen this kind of opportunity. And that's why I'm really excited for this project. So let's run through the numbers. The first thing that you'll see is your down payment is approximately $120,000 if we look at a purchase price of $600,000. I'm saying, let's say interest rates are 5.14%, which they're actually lower than that. Your total monthly carry cost is $2,800 a month. What BOSA is doing only for Toronto purchasers, which we will mention later on, is they're offering you a 2-year rental guarantee, plus they're offering you 2 years property management at no cost, plus they're paying the first 2 years of your condominium fees at no cost. So your total expenses are $379, and your monthly guarantee for this particular unit is $3,300 a month. So you're actually making $110 a month in positive cash flow.
So I did the numbers on this on current rates available, and it works up to $300 a month, like based on what you could get today.
Yes.
And I think it's really important to mention, like, this rental guarantee, I met your team, I met the property management company. This isn't an inflated rent number. This is what the market rents are. Right?
Correct. This is exactly what they're getting currently for rents in the area and in their buildings. So the challenge with the unbelievable thing about Calgary is this rent is almost, and you can correct me, Ryan, almost what you would get in Toronto, a little bit less than that. But you're paying $500 a foot or $600 a foot versus paying $1,300 a foot. So the rental return that you're making is so significant because there's so many people that are coming into Calgary. There's a limited supply of condominiums that are coming up in the downtown core. In fact, this is the only project completing in the next 2 years in Calgary downtown. So there's no supply that's in the downtown core, but all this immigration and people that are wanting to come into the downtown core. So rents are actually going up at a significant pace, relative to the rest of the market. So that's why it's so interesting to be able to see this that I haven't seen in 20 years investing in real estate. The other thing that I love about Alberta versus Ontario is they're very landlord friendly, not like Ontario is. So there's no rent control in Alberta. There's rent control in Ontario for any units that were purchased before 2018. You can have a security deposit in Ontario. You can collect security deposits in Alberta. There are pet clauses that you can permit in Alberta. You don't have to do that in Ontario. The LTB case, this is an important thing. If you have a delinquent renter, it could take you up to 1 year to get your case heard at the landlord tribunal. In Alberta, it takes approximately 1 month, and they are usually out, and you can get a renter right away. So that's something that is really landlord friendly in Alberta versus Ontario. At the end of the fixed term lease in Ontario, you switch to month to month. At the end of the lease in Alberta, the fixed term ends, and you can either find a new renter or charge whatever new rent that you want, based on the market there. On units built before 2019, there's a 3% maximum rent increase that you can charge in Ontario. In Calgary, you can have 100% cost escalation. So basically what it means is it's very pro landlord in Alberta, and that allows you to generate higher rents over the next few years and deal with any problem tenants that you have that are coming out, unlike what you can do in Ontario. This is just an article that came out that said price of newly listed rentals increased by more than 16% in April, and that's exactly what I said, is that the supply is so low that rents are just going up way more than the rate of inflation, probably 4 or 5 times the rate of inflation. But people are still renting at these rents because they just can literally not find anything. And so here's what we're doing also for Toronto buyers that you couldn't even do if you're buying in Calgary. So as a Calgary buyer, if you came into the sales office and you wanted to purchase, you would not be able to get this opportunity that Toronto buyers get. First of all price of those units, so the C1, the C2 stack, the C3, whether you're buying on a higher floor or a lower floor, are all starting at the same price. So there's one price for that exact stack all the way throughout the building. So that unit at $539,000 is on the higher floor, on the lower floor. And that will rent, they will guarantee that rent for $3,050 a month. The C2 at $549, and then it goes up to the D3 at $649 for $3,500 a month. The only thing that you have to pay is that you have to pay the 5% GST on closing, unlike in Ontario where the HST is already built in. So that is going to be an additional on top of these prices that you see here. And this is what I really love about this project.
Yeah, this is a great slide.
This is BOSA's existing units, projects that they built in the East Village, blocks away. And these were built, like for instance, the Evolution was built in 2016. Similar size unit, 1,100 square feet, sold for $625,000 on July 27th of last year. In Park Point, a 929 square foot unit sold for $655,000. The Royal is another project by BOSA, built in 2019. One sold for $712,000, and one sold in March of this year for $708,000. The great thing is you're buying lower than the resale value of these units that were built between 4 and 10 years ago. You cannot do that in any location in Ontario, which is what I love. The second thing that I love about it is that they've actually got appraisers to do appraisals of the units, of every single type of unit that we have for sale in this project. And every single appraisal has come in at higher than what you're purchasing at starting this weekend. So imagine that. There's not a single project in Ontario that's closing today where your appraisal is actually not even coming in at the appraised value that they purchased in 4 years ago, but it's actually coming in less than what they purchased 4 or 5 years ago. This is the only project that I've seen in my career where appraised values are higher than what you're actually purchasing. So you have built-in equity from day one at purchasing at Arris. So This is an amazing, amazing opportunity.
Yeah, let me just touch on that again, because everything you're saying about Calgary is compelling. We know it's the hottest market in the country. Um, what is very, very, very unique, and I've been doing this for 20 years as well, is you don't see investments, real estate investments that you can invest in today, get cash flow. In today's market, you cannot get cash flow with 20% down. You could if maybe you went and renovated a unit or a house and did a tremendous amount of work and put money into it. But just to pay for the keys and have a unit that's cash flow positive right away is unheard of. And then you're also getting equity from day one. It's an incredible deal, and that's really why we're bringing it to the community and promoting it.
Yeah, and then lastly, for the Toronto buyers only, the 2-year rental guarantee I spoke about, the 2-year free rental management, 2-year free condo fees. There's 30, 60, 90-day closings that are there. Prices are starting from as low as $499 a foot. And that includes a parking and a locker space. Like it's incredible at this pricing. Like there's nowhere in Ontario you can buy at this price. Not a single location. You only need 5% deposit to purchase. And we have banks on site that will be able to provide the mortgage financing. We've got RBC. We've got a blanket mortgage. We've got the appraisals. We've got other people that we're working with that can get the mortgages. So literally, as soon as you sign, you close on your unit is rented, and you're paying down your mortgage from day one. It's just that good of a deal that I haven't seen in that long. So like I said, one price for all stacks. Floors 5 to 15 for the C2 are starting at $549,000 all the way up, and the C3 $605,000. And I think that's what I want to talk about. The only other last thing is that we are doing our event. I just have to remember this Saturday at the Sheraton Hotel at 801 Dixon Road. It's going to be very busy. I encourage you to bring clients, yourselves, to come take a look at this. We will start at 11:30, and myself and the Vice President of BOSA Development, Rob Marchand, who, Ryan, you have met, will be there, and he will be doing a presentation. He will be answering any questions that you have. We will have the team from Calgary there to answer any questions about rents and what you need to do to purchase and everything there. The banks will be on site. Myself and my entire team will be there. We'll be able to assist you. I honestly think that this is one of the opportunities you cannot let yourself or your clients miss out on. It will be a missed opportunity to generate wealth. And we will not find this, I just don't know, and maybe in another 10 years. So really excited for this opportunity. And I don't get excited about real estate that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting opportunity. We've been talking loud about it with our database for some time now. So yeah, really excited to bring everyone together and answer questions on the weekend. Reach out to us. We'll send out this video, a recording of it, and you can reach out to me, your realtor, the team, and we will answer all your questions. This is an exciting opportunity. How many units were released to us in Toronto? Are you able to say? Like, I know it's a limited amount.
It's a limited amount. It's only 50 units. We've sold a lot, to be honest with you. So, I encourage people, if they're ready to go, to bring a checkbook, get ready, on the weekend. And once we do sell these 50 units, we're going to ask BOSA for some more units, but they're going to be at a higher price than what you see here today. So it's really getting in on the ground floor.
Yeah, so act now. And for those of you who can't make the event on the weekend, you can reserve a unit online, and we can do it that way as well. So Riz, appreciate it. I've been wanting to do one of these with you for a long time. I always love hearing you speak about the market. Always very, very insightful. So I appreciate it, and I will see you this weekend.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.